Have you ever tried to fix a sprinkler and thought, it'll just take 5 minutes, only to find yourself an hour later digging through roots, rocks, and pipes? Today, we will go beyond the easy fixes to troubleshooting where we need to replace or repair sprinkler components. I'm Dr. DeBusk, and in this section, we'll explore how to safely and efficiently replace or repair the key parts of an irrigation system, from damaged sprinklers to broken fittings and swing joints. We'll talk about when to repair versus replace, how to excavate properly without damaging nearby utilities or system components, and the tools and materials you need to get the job done right. Think of this chapter as your hands-on guide to the most common field situations irrigation technicians face, and how to handle them professionally, safely, and efficiently. When we talk about replacing and repairing sprinklers, we're stepping into the part of irrigation work that every technician eventually faces, the part where adjusting just isn't enough. The system review helps identify those components, the ones that are broken, clogged, or damaged beyond what a simple adjustment can fix. That's where troubleshooting comes in. We'll go over troubleshooting in detail later, but for now, know that it's about finding the cause before jumping to a repair. Some components like pumps, backflow prevention devices, and direct wired controllers aren't just more complex. They legally require special training or license to work on. Then there's the field reality. No two repair jobs are ever the same. Sometimes you're working in clean sandy soil, and other times you're wrestling with tree roots, buried rocks, or a spaghetti mix of wires and pipes. The digging can be half the challenge. No matter what, always start with safety. Call 811 before you dig, even for a shallow repair. It's required by code in most states and could save you from hitting utilities or irrigation wires. And finally, don't fall for the myth that digging a tiny hole makes the job faster. In reality, cramped spaces slow you down and make it easier for dirt to contaminate fittings. A wider, cleaner work area saves time, reduces frustration, and makes for a more professional repair. One of the most overlooked parts of sprinkler repair isn't the repair itself, it's the digging and backfilling. Doing this efficiently makes a huge difference in how clean, safe, and professional the job looks when it's done. Always start by giving yourself enough space to work. That means digging at least 6 to 8 inches around the sprinkler and 2 to 3 inches under it and the fittings. If you're trenching, be sure to know and follow your local codes for how much soil must cover mainline and lateral pipes. Place your spoils on a tarp or a board. That simple step saves cleanup time and prevents losing valuable soil, especially in landscape beds or manicured turf areas. When you backfill, don't dump it all in at once. Work in layers, what we call lifts, compacting each one before adding more. For shallow holes, you can do this halfway up, compact, then finish and compact again. The handle of your shovel makes a perfect compacting tool for those tighter spaces. Expect the ground to settle later. The amount depends on the soil type, how well it's compacted, and how wet the soil was when you worked it. You might need to come back to level and recompact later, and that's totally normal. Finally, always clean up like a professional. Replace or patch turf, add mulch in landscape beds, and keep a bit of extra soil handy. A repair isn't complete until the site looks like you were never there. When you're out in the field doing system reviews, you'll quickly find that most of the issues you come across fall into just a few categories. These 9 conditions represent the majority of sprinkler problems that require either repair or replacement. The first group, numbers 1 through 7, usually involves physical adjustments or digging. You might be raising a sunken sprinkler, lowering one that sticks too far up, or relocating a head that was never placed correctly. You could also be tightening one that leaks underneath, adding a check valve to stop low head drainage, or clearing plant material that's blocking the spray. The second group, numbers 8 and 9, are internal issues. These are situations where the sprinkler isn't rotating properly or it's leaking at the seal, meaning the internal assembly needs to be replaced. By learning to recognize these common problems, you'll be able to quickly diagnose what type of repair you're dealing with, whether it's a digging job or a quick internal swap, and plan your time and materials accordingly. Let's go through each one. When we talk about moving or replacing a sprinkler, we're really addressing two slightly different types of work. Moving a sprinkler could mean raising or lowering it to match grade changes or repositioning it for better coverage. This often happens as landscapes mature or as new plantings change the irrigation layout. Replacing a sprinkler, on the other hand, involves removing the entire unit, not just the internal mechanism. This is necessary when the body is cracked, leaking, or outdated. One of the most common issues you'll encounter is a broken threaded fitting or cutoff riser that's stuck in place. For that, the must-have tool is the nipple extractor. It grips inside the broken fitting and lets you remove it cleanly without damaging surrounding threads. That small tool can save a lot of frustration and prevent pipe damage. When sprinklers sink too low, their spray pattern is blocked by the turf, leaving dry spots. On the flip side, if a sprinkler sits too high above grade, it's at risk of being hit by mowers or creating a tripping hazard. That's why every sprinkler should be installed with a flexible connection, a swing joint, between the head and the pipe. It acts like a shock absorber, protecting the pipe and making it easy to adjust height as the landscape changes. Cutoff risers might allow a bit of flex, but they don't provide true protection. Think of raising or lowering sprinklers as part of regular system care, like changing the oil in your car. Preventive adjustments save you from expensive brake repairs later. A true swing joint lets the sprinkler move freely in any direction. There are several designs, from simple flex pipe assemblies to pre-made residential and commercial swing joints, but the goal is the same: absorb impact and make height adjustment easy. When installing, be sure the swing joint pipe has room to move and isn't resting on another line. The arm should come off the outside of the 90-degree turn and angle upward toward the sprinkler, not straight up or lying flat. Loosen the soil beneath the head and joint slightly so there's a cushion of movement if the sprinkler is stepped on or pushed down. See the circle in the photo. In cold climate areas, you'll skip that step to prevent freeze-thaw movement. If your sprinkler is already on a swing joint, raising or lowering it is quick and efficient. First, dig a roomy hole around the sprinkler about 6 to 8 inches out and a few inches underneath. Expose enough of the swing joint so you can move it into position. If you need a little extra height, add a short nipple or a cutoff riser between the joint and the sprinkler. Then compact the soil under and around it, making sure the sprinkler stays level and at the right grade. Check the aiming before replacing the turf or mulch. Now, if the sprinkler isn't on a swing joint, this is your chance to fix that permanently. Dig down, remove the grid connection, and install a swing joint. The time is about the same, but you'll prevent future damage and make all later maintenance easier. Sometimes the sprinkler just can't be saved. Maybe it's split from freezing, cracked from impact, or needs to be swapped for a different brand or model. In those cases, we replace the entire sprinkler body. The process is almost identical to raising or lowering a sprinkler. You still dig a good work area around the head, then simply unthread the old sprinkler from the swing joint and thread on the new one. Make sure your threads are clean and straight. Cross-threading here can lead to leaks later. If the new sprinkler is a different height, dig the hole a little deeper or shallower so it sits at the correct grade. Also, pay close attention to how it connects. If the old sprinkler used a side inlet and you're replacing it with one that has a check valve, the swing joint needs to go into the bottom inlet or that check won't work. Always double check the nozzle too. Using the wrong one for the system's pressure or spacing can make your coverage worse, not better. Finally, if you're converting from a 4-inch pop-up to a 6-inch and the fitting points straight up, you can curl the swing pipe under the existing line and place the taller sprinkler just next to the original spot. That trick keeps the system uniform and prevents having to redo the entire lateral. Swing joints are one of the best insurance policies in an irrigation system. When they're installed correctly, they almost never fail. Unfortunately, not every system is built with them, especially older ones. So part of our job in the field is to retrofit sprinklers with swing joints. There are several ways to build a swing joint, from simple swing pipe with barbed fittings to heavy-duty prefab commercial assemblies. In the next few slides, we'll go through how to install each type correctly. The most common type of swing joint you'll see in residential systems uses swing pipe and barbed fittings. These fittings have threads on one side and spiral barbs on the other. The spiral shape helps them screw into the swing pipe for a tight fit without glue or clamps. Start by digging down to expose the existing fitting and remove the old parts. Then thread a barbed fitting into the sprinkler, push and twist it into the swing pipe until the barbs disappear, and repeat on the other end where it meets the pipe fitting. Always leave a gentle bend in the pipe, no sharp kinks, to preserve flexibility. Keep the flow through each swing line under about 6 gallons per minute to avoid pressure loss. Once it's connected, come back to your soil, aim the sprinkler, and clean up the site. Flex pipe swing joints look similar to swing pipe ones, but instead of barbed connections, they're cemented into PVC fittings. Because flex pipe expands and contracts more than rigid PVC, use a special flexible PVC cement made to bond both materials. Regular PVC glue will fail over time. Prime and cement your fittings following proper solvent welding techniques. Attach the sprinkler and connect the flex pipe to the existing line using the appropriate threaded or socket adapter. Always check your alignment before the cement sets so the sprinkler points straight up. Once it's in position, backfill and compact the area. Prefabricated swing joints are the plug-and-play option. They come pre-assembled and are available in residential and commercial grades. Some models can even be taken apart to make threading into the existing pipe easier. Once installed, simply attach the sprinkler, adjust it, and backfill. On commercial systems, you'll often see stick-built swing joints made from street L's and short pipe nipples. Polyethylene L's are preferred because they're softer and self-sealing. No Teflon tape is needed, and the threads stay movable. PVC street L's can be used, but you'll need to apply thread sealant or tape, and be careful not to over-tighten. The key is to keep the fitting snug but flexible so the joint can absorb movement without leaking. Every technician has run into this at some point, a sprinkler that's simply gone. Maybe it was broken off, capped, and buried until a replacement could be found. But that temporary fix became permanent. When you discover a missing sprinkler, start by digging carefully where it should be. In many cases, you'll find a capped swing joint or fitting just below the surface. If it's there, great! You can reinstall the sprinkler exactly as you would when replacing one. If no cap joint is found, you'll need to extend a new pipe from the nearest sprinkler or lateral line. Add a new swing joint and sprinkler, set it to grade, and check the spacing and arc to make sure the system's coverage is restored. Taking time to locate and properly reinstall a missing head keeps the zone balanced and prevents dry spots from being overlooked. Adding a sprinkler might sound like a simple fix. Maybe there's a dry spot in the lawn or a new plant bed that isn't getting enough water, but hydraulically, it's a big deal. Every new head you add increases the total flow in the zone. If the system can't maintain enough pressure for all the sprinklers to operate correctly, the result isn't better coverage, it's worse. You'll see short throw distances, uneven patterns, and more wasted water. Before making any changes, you need to analyze the hydraulics. That means knowing how to calculate the available dynamic pressure, the pressure loss through the piping, and the flow for the existing zone. You should also verify that the nozzles in that zone have matched precipitation rates and that your pipe sizing and velocity are correct. If these fundamentals aren't considered, adding a sprinkler will hurt the system's performance instead of improving it. Sometimes you'll notice water continuing to run out of a sprinkler long after the system turns off. That's what we call low head drainage. It happens when the water trapped between the valve and the lowest sprinklers drains by gravity. Before jumping to conclusions, confirm that the water actually stops after a while. If it doesn't stop, the problem isn't low head drainage. It's a valve that's leaking and needs to be repaired. Once you've confirmed true low head drainage, the fix is to install check valves at the lowest sprinklers. These valves hold water in the line so it doesn't drain out each cycle. On gentle slopes, 1 or 2 may be enough, but on steeper slopes, you might need to install them in several sprinklers or even across the entire zone. Always remember, check valves must be installed using the bottom inlet, not the side inlet, or they won't function correctly. Installing a check valve is a quick repair once you've confirmed the issue. Remove the sprinkler internal, then either add a check disc to the rotor's basket screen or insert the check valve frame into the spray's riser tube. Reassemble the sprinkler, flush the zone, and test it. The telltale sign of success is when the water stops draining after the system shuts off. I often recommend replacing the entire sprinkler with one that already has a factory installed check valve. When a spray body or rotor is purchased with a check valve installed, the top of the sprinkler will be marked with check valve, CV, or SAM to indicate a check valve is installed. It saves time, comes with a new cap and seal, and ensures the check valve is perfectly seated. Sprinkler placement is one of the 4 elements that determine irrigation coverage, and it often changes as a landscape matures. Early in a new installation, it's common to use the same sprinklers for both turf and adjacent shrubs while everything is establishing. But once those shrubs take off, that setup stops working. The plants in the turf have very different water needs. In a well-designed system, turf and shrubs should always be on separate zones. If a shrub begins blocking a sprinkler, don't just raise the head higher. That looks unprofessional and it makes it more vulnerable to damage. Instead, lower the sprinkler and use a flat nozzle so it sprays beneath the foliage. Watering from underneath the canopy is far more efficient and prevents disease issues. Once you've decided a sprinkler needs to move, your next step is to make sure the hydraulics will still work. A new section of pipe has to be sized for the flow and length so that pressure loss is kept in check. Keep swing pipe or half-inch flex pipe short, 5 feet or less. Longer runs cause serious pressure loss. If you're extending swing pipe, use 2 barbed couplers rather than cutting off the existing fitting. It's faster, safer, and maintains flexibility. Just as important is where you put that new head. It needs to match the spacing and flow of the other sprinklers in the zone to maintain matched precipitation rates. And never mix spray heads with rotors unless you've recalculated everything. Their precipitation rates are completely different. The following tables can be good for quick guidelines to prevent making poor choices. For example, if I extend a sprinkler 8 feet using swing pipe because it's quick and flexible, I've just created a 3 to 4 psi pressure drop before water even gets to that sprinkler. That could be enough to cause the head to fail or be less efficient. But if I instead use class 200 PVC for that run, my pressure loss would be almost negligible. So when you move a sprinkler, it's not just about where it goes, but how you connect it. Choosing the right pipe type and size keeps your zone hydraulically balanced and your coverage uniform. One of the simplest and quickest repairs you'll perform in the field is replacing a sprinkler internal. This lets you restore full function without digging up the body. Before you begin, inspect the sprinkler body carefully for cracks or damage. Then make sure your replacement internal is the exact same model or a compatible version approved by the manufacturer. Not all internals are interchangeable, so always double check that specification sheet. Use 2 sets of channel pliers. One holds the body steady while the other loosens the cap. Once the cap is off, pull out the internal assembly, drop in the replacement, and hand tighten the cap. Then aim and adjust your sprinkler as needed. This small repair can save you a lot of digging and downtime, especially during system checks. In this section, we looked at the essential maintenance and repair techniques for sprinkler systems. The key takeaway is that efficient irrigation service begins with an accurate diagnosis, knowing when a simple adjustment will do and when a full replacement is needed. We reviewed how to dig and backfill properly, replace or move sprinklers, and work with swing joints and check valves. Understanding hydraulics is critical. Even a small change in pipe size or sprinkler type can affect coverage. Finally, remember that professional irrigation maintenance isn't just about fixing problems. It's about doing it safely, efficiently, and with long-term performance in mind. Every repair should leave the system performing as if it were brand new. The big takeaway? Small, consistent adjustments prevent big problems. They keep water where it belongs, protect the landscape investment, and show professionalism in every service call.